Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm back with 3 all new Easter decor DIYs that are all super easy to do. I really hope that you enjoyed today's video. Now let's go ahead and get right into it. For the first DIY today, I'm going to be using this oval shaped wood piece that has these wooden beads attached to the top of it already. I did pick this piece up from Hobby Lobby and it was really inexpensive. The first thing I'm doing to it is just painting on my folk art wood tint in the color Walnut. I painted on a good amount of the wood tint and then I just used an old towel to wipe away the excess. I did want my beads to have that same look, so I did the same thing. I painted on the wood tint on all of the beads and then used my towel just to wipe away all of the excess, and I really like how it left like the unfinished wood look right in the center of each bead. In this project, I'm going to be using an unfinished wood truck. This one is from Joann Fabrics, and for the main truck color, I'm painting it with my folk art chalk paint in the color Glacier. Then of course I had to paint the tires and I'm painting them with a color called Rich Black from Folk Art, but pretty much any black color will do. And of course I did both tires with this color. And then for the bed of the truck, I'm using my Java color chalk paint from Folk Art. Then to finish up with my tires, I did use my Waverly chalk paint in the color White, and I just hand painted a circle right in the center of both of my tires. In this project, I'm also using 3 of these unfinished wood carrots. These ones are from Hobby Lobby, but they do have ones that are very similar from Dollar Tree. And I'm painting the carrot bottom portion with my Waverly paint in the color Pumpkin. And of course, I painted all 3 of the carrots that color. And then for the stems of all of my carrots, I'm using the color Spanish Moss from Folk Art. I'm going to start putting everything together, but I did need to have my truck raised a little bit from my wood oval piece, so I'm just using a really small scrap piece of wood I had in my stash, and I'm hot gluing it to the back front side of my truck just so I have a little bit of space between the wood oval piece and then the truck. Then I'm hot gluing all 3 of my carrots onto my oval piece on the left hand side. These are all going to be sitting behind the bed of my truck. To attach my truck, I'm just placing hot glue along the entire backside and then placing it where my carrots are behind the bed of it. And then for the very top of my piece, I'm going to be using these Scrabble wood letter blocks. These are from Amazon and I will have them linked down in my description box. And I'm just spelling out the word Carrot Farm at the very top and getting the letters all spaced out the way I want them to be before I start hot gluing each one of them down. I did end up adding a little bit more detail to this piece. I used some of this white cotton cord from Hobby Lobby and I hot glued it around all of the edges of the oval piece, and I just really love the detail that it added. I also ended up adding a little bit of Spanish moss between the bed of my truck and the carrots, and I just used hot glue to attach the Spanish moss. And then for the very last step, I ended up adding a few of these little white flowers from Hobby Lobby, and I cut them down really small, and then I also cut down the stems of the flowers, and I just added those at the very top of my piece. Here is what the piece looks like all finished. I think it turned out so cute and it was really easy to do. I ended up adding it to one of the stands that I have when you first walk in my home. Now moving right along into DIY number 2. For this project, I'm using one of these unfinished wooden cube pieces from Dollar Tree. And then the first thing I'm doing to it is painting the entire piece with my Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster. I'm also using 4 of these scrap wood pieces. These are from Hobby Lobby and they do come in a bundle all together. I already cut one end of each one of these wood pieces on an angle so that when I add like my roof part that you'll see me do later, it sits evenly. And then for all of those 4 wood pieces, I did paint those with that same plaster color paint. I'm also using these 2 unfinished wood square pieces. I believe these ones are from Amazon, but they sell ones similar to this at Dollar Tree and Michael's. And I'm just using my Folk Art wood tint in the color Walnut. You guys know I love this tint and I use it on a lot of my projects. I'm just painting it on both of these wood pieces and then wiping away the excess with an old rag. Next, I'm gonna start assembling everything together. I'm using hot glue on one side of my wood scrap piece to attach two of them together. Once I have them attached together, then I'm placing hot glue inside of my cube right in the center to attach those two wood pieces to the side. Once I have that one attached, then I'm going to be doing the exact same thing to the other ones. I'm attaching the other two wood pieces together and then placing hot glue on the other side of the inside of the cube to attach those two wood pieces to the inside. Next, I'm adding my two square pieces to form my roof. I'm just using hot glue on the very tops of those wood pieces that are sticking up. I just used both of them to just kind of see how I wanted my roof to be, to make sure it was in line, and then just used a pretty good amount of glue. And then once the glue was on, I just held the piece down until the glue was all set, and then I did the exact same thing to the other side. I did want to add some writing to the very front of this piece, so I'm using this Farm Fresh Organic Carrot stencil that I picked up from Amazon, and I will have it linked down below. I just placed it in the center of the front of my piece, and then I used painter's tape on the top and the bottom of the stencil to hold it into place. Then for the carrot color, I'm using Pumpkin from Waverly. Then for the stem of the carrots, I'm using the color Spanish Moss from Folk Art. And then for all of my words, the Farm Fresh Organic Carrots, I'm using Rich Black from Folk Art. Once the paint was all dry, I then removed the painter's tape and my stencil. Then I'm going to be adding some Spanish moss to the inside of my cube. I did add a piece of paper towel in there first just because I didn't have a ton of Spanish moss left over and I needed a little bit more filler. Then I'm using these really cute carrots. These ones are from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just placing them inside of the Spanish moss. And this is what the piece looks like all finished. I love how this one turned out. It was really easy to do, and it is the perfect piece to add to your tabletop or any tiered tray. Now for the third and final DIY for today, I'm using this wood piece that had a bunch of small wood icons in it, and it was just left over in my craft stash, and I thought it would be perfect for this project. The first thing I'm doing to it is painting the entire piece with the Waverly paint. You guessed it, in plaster. My favorite color, definitely from Waverly. Once it was all dry, I wanted to add a little bit of distressing to it, so I took my Java colored paint from Folk Art on a brush and I just very lightly painted that color around all of the edges of this piece. Then I'm moving on, and I'm going to be using 4 of these wooden bunnies. These are from Dollar Tree, and I'm painting all 4 of them with the prominent pink color from Folk Art. And then I'm also going to be using 5 of the unfinished wooden eggs. These are also from Dollar Tree. And for these ones, I painted the base color of all of the eggs with Persian gray from Folk Art, but then I knew I wanted to add some detail to the eggs and really make them look like Easter eggs. So what I ended up doing was on the top and the bottom of the egg, I added a pink stripe, and this is in the color Vintage Pink from Folk Art. And then I wanted to add some zigzag stripes, so I did 2 different zigzag stripes on all of the eggs, and that is in the color Vintage Teal. And then in between all of the zigzags, I added just some polka dots with my Waverly paint and plaster. The last piece that I'm going to be using for this project are 4 of these wooden caps from Hobby Lobby, and I'm using my Folk Art wood tint once again in the color Walnut, and I just painted the wood tint on all 4 of the caps and then used that same old towel or rag that I have and just wiped away the excess. Next, I'm attaching all of my wood caps to the very bottom of my square wood piece. I'm just using some hot glue on the bottom side of the cap and then pressing them down on the bottom of the square piece. And then for the very last step, I'm placing all of my painted wooden bunnies and eggs inside of all of the little squares, and this is the perfect tabletop tic-tac-toe. And this is what the piece looks like all finished. I think it turned out so cute, and you could really switch it up and do different colors if you wanted, so it would match with your own decor. I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, I hope that you will consider subscribing, and please be sure to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Thank you so much for watching.